On the question about the embassy in Kyiv, you said that you're continuing to reduce the size of the embassy. To be clear, you're not talking about closing the embassy just yet. So what size are we talking about? How much of a reduction here?
I can check with the State Department. It's a good question, but they really have purview over those numbers, and that's where we are in the process at this point in time. Go ahead.
Jen, what does the White House make of the reporting that former President Trump is still in touch with Kim Jong-un?
Well, former President Trump is not the president, and President Biden is the president, and he is the one who conducts diplomacy on behalf of the United States.
And one other topic, I see that the president spoke with Prime Minister Trudeau about the blockade. What is the White House doing to help sort of alleviate the trade issues that he raised in that call? And more broadly, is the White House or is the government preparing for any kind of similar types of demonstrations here?
Yeah, so two different questions, so let me try to answer them both. So we have continued, obviously the President's speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau about this as part of our effort, but our team, Dr. Liz Sherwood-Randall, other members of our administration have been in close touch with their Canadian counterparts over the last few days about how to address this blockade and the challenge it is posing to the supply chain. I mean, fundamentally, how we view this is that the impact of these protests, while we certainly believe in peaceful protest, has the potential to impact, and this is why we are very focused on this, communities, workers being able to travel back and forth across the bridge, who are going to work, who may work on different sides of the border, the ability to get food on the table to American families, to get auto parts to manufacturers who are trying to make vehicles. So this is, whatever their intended stated purpose is, this effort has the potential to have a huge impact on workers and the American public. But to go back to your question, we are in very close contact with Canadian officials. We've also taken steps to help detour routes so that a number of these trucks can move in different routes and be able to cross the border. So, for example, while the Windsor-Detroit Ambassador Bridge continues to remain closed, Port Huron is fully operational. Customs and Border Patrol is rerouting traffic to Port Huron, where all 9 commercial lanes are open. The Detroit-Windsor Tunnel is open, which is a way that individuals who are trying to work on different sides of the border are able to travel as well. And Secretary Mayorkas has also spoken with local officials in affected and potentially affected states, as has Secretary Buttigieg has been deeply involved with this as well. On your second question, we are, of course, on reports of a similar freedom convoy I think you're asking about, right, in D.C., event in D.C. in early March. The Department of Homeland Security obviously put out a statement on this the other night. They're aware of these reports. They're taking all necessary steps to ensure that the convoy does not disrupt lawful trade and transportation or interfere with federal government and law enforcement operations. On reports that this convoy is causing disruptions at the Super Bowl, the Department of Homeland Security, or could, I should say, the Department of Homeland Security is surging additional staff to its incident command post. There's strong cooperation with the California Highway Patrol, the Los Angeles Police Department, and state and local authorities. And the department already has a lead field coordinator and emergency operations center in place, as would be standard protocol, given this is a large event, the Super Bowl. And they will build on that. There's already 500 DHS personnel providing extensive air and maritime security resources. So we are in both close touch with our Canadian counterparts, also with local officials through our Department of Homeland Security. Our Secretary of Transportation is also deeply involved in this, and we're working to address this on all fronts. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Just to follow up on Jeff's question, is it still accurate to say that the Biden administration has not heard back from the North Koreans despite the outreach?
Correct.
Okay. And on the conversation that President Biden is expected to have with President Putin, is that happening today?
I don't have anything to predict in terms of the timing. Okay, and I think we have to wrap it up. You want to do the last one, quick?
Yeah, real quick. Well, can I ask on two things? First of all, following up on what you said earlier, confirming that interviews with Supreme Court candidates could begin as early as next week. Does he have in mind how many he wants to interview? Is it just a few? Is there a number that he has in mind? And how long do you expect that process, the interview meeting process, to go? Just next week or further?
Well, what I can tell you is that the interview process for any president typically happens very late in the process. And in terms of the specific number, I'm just not going to get into that level of detail from here.
One more question.